Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and I know it's been a long time since I last said that, but yeah, here I am once again. It's going to be R20, so these are the first games I'm going to be posting on my channel. Now, I do have an R21 update to come out shortly. Despite the launch being pretty good, the launch release is stable, there's no crashing, no issues like that, but I did notice an oversight with the sniper team and the harvester when it is overlapping on green and blue Tiberium. Doesn't know what particular Tiberium it is harvesting in that particular instance. However, I did fix that, and the update should be out for the 2v2 and 4v4 packs within the day of uploading this video. But yeah, this is going to be Torment Dust. But I'm going to showcase two games from R21. These games are pretty fun, if you ask me. This is Vanilla Nod versus Zocom. No more is Zocom a weakling faction. Ever since the fences got fixed, aka nerfed, because really it is a big nerf, the ability for Zocom's armor to puncture through those nod structures has greatly increased. Before, the fence would give the building 100% armor. The fence would never disappear. You would see it visually disappear, but the armor bonus it granted would always remain. That was somewhat of a bug. I really do like the lighting on this version of Dust Bowl a lot more than the one that it shipped with the game. This is the 2 vs 2 version. Got that alt decal around that war factory. It is a variation of the Command & Conquer 4 one. I did remake that in Photoshop, gave it a fainter glow, inner glow. It looks pretty nice. I prefer it to the original one in C&C3. It just has that modern looking look to it with the inner glow. I like it a lot. But as far as graphics goes, I think this game really holds up for its age. In part thanks to the mods. This mod I'm using here is not just R21 but the 4K mod, and it contains not only textures but shaders as well, which enhance the game's graphics further. Harvesters will bug substantially less in R21. Every update I say that, but it is and will be the case going forward. I endeavor to improve the harvesters and the way they behave as much as possible. You're always confined within the limits of modding unless you start, breaking it down into hex and machine code, but I don't think anyone really has the time to do that. I certainly don't after putting out these two mods. I'm not going to claim that R21 is a patch. It is pretty much a mod at this point. It doesn't really add anything like units are concerned, but some upgrades weren't in the original game, like the Redeemer gets Blue Flame if you purchase Purifying Flame, the Hexapod gets shards, blue shards if you upgrade blue shards from your technology assembler as Reaper 17. And of course that harvester feature which I added was not in vanilla, though it pretty much should have been in my opinion. This game was rushed, as you guys know. EA were on a tight schedule. They wanted this to be released ASAP, plus they had to make it work on console. And that was evident by the animations. I was trying to get the Tiberium crystals to animate while in the fog of war, but it's simply not possible. This game doesn't play animations whatsoever if your camera isn't looking at that area of the map, which does have some gameplay significance, hence why I was trying to fix it. But yeah, that is one thing that cannot be fixed, obviously. Big attack coming in here for Senna. He's going for infantry and predator tanks. I'm going to use these reckoners, which did receive a plus 5% armor buff with dozer blades. The Scorpion tanks did get tweaked. A little bit weaker versus rocket damage, but these Reckoners more than make up for it with that plus 5%. I know what you're thinking, Lee, 5%, that's not a lot. Well, it is, because Reckoners have a lot of armor. Their health isn't that much, so you can utilize them with a war factory. Just place them near your war factory and they'll get repairs. And more often than not, they will out-heal the damage inflicted by your opponent. So going into R21 with such a unique strategy in this first game, I bet you guys did not expect this. But we've got Reckoners on the front line. I'm going to deploy them at full health. And these war factories, look at the healing. But against all that DPS, against all those missiles, it's just not going to be enough. That's a huge army from center. He could push in if he chooses. That's an empty Reckoner there, but it's still causing him to feel a bit concerned about it. So he's going to go back. My base is a little bit exposed over there. He could just literally roll into my base and take me out. But I have the option to put down a disruption tower. That can, of course, be problematic for Senna if he's already used his radar scan support power. Another Reckoner coming out. 8 militants. The more militants I make, the better later this game goes, because then I can use the redemption and get a bunch of awakened. In R21, the EMP of the awakened squads has been reverted to 5 seconds, but there is a pre-delay before you can utilize their EMP. So if the unit has been created, you have to wait a second before the ability becomes available. If it's balanced, then you can't just throw the EMP even before the unit fully emerges from the hand of Nod. Now you have to wait till that unit is fully out of the barracks. I think that is pretty logical. You deploy another Reckoner here. I've got mostly just Reckoners. I'm hoping that Senna goes into my Reckoner line. And he's finding it difficult against these Reckoners to just push into my base. But yeah, I've been harvesting weight on my expansion. Not much counter harassment from me in this game. I can build up more of these units here. And I don't have any militants in these Reckoners, but the Confessor leaders have a machine gun, and that will dispose of infantry. The hallucinogenic grenades as well will cause these infantry forces to start firing on themselves, which is a really great feature of the Nod. Being inside the Reckoner and also being able to still shoot those grenades is a big deal. Quad turrets does not desync in 1.02 plus, guys, so you can purchase that and not fear about any consequences online. If you're new to this channel and you've never seen this community patch before, and you may be wondering what is the difference between this and the vanilla game, well, this fixes a lot of the issues from the vanilla game, bugs wise, and it attempts to balance the game better. Many quality of life adjustments have been made over the years, and it's not too different from the vanilla game as far as unit stats and balance is concerned. Only tones down the extremes of vanilla, but I did like how vanilla gameplay was as far as epics were concerned, so I kept those the same. And the super powerful upgrades such as AP ammo has in part remained the same. Tip core the same. Because in the end of the day, it all cancels themselves out. OP upgrades, they all somewhat cancel each other out. Tip core for the hammerheads, shard launchers for the hammerheads as well. Venoms with supercharged particle beams, super powerful, they demand an upgrade. If anything, Nod need that super powerful tip core upgrade because their anti-air is pretty woeful otherwise. You really need it as Nod. It's the first thing you should prioritize on unless you're going for a scorp tank strategy. But you can see again, this Reckoner is going to go and tank tons of damage. That is a lot of firepower going down on that Reckoner. Triple rocket spewing out of there. Hammerheads taking a swipe at my harvester, going to pull those back. And that Reckoner just has been barely touched, and with these spikes of support, I'm going to be able to hold this position. So I'm going to stack Bike Buggy. This is the opposite of how I usually play. Usually I'm a very aggressive player, but I'm trying an experimental tactic here. One that was pretty popular. I believe Khufu utilized a variant of this particular strategy. Camp Nod is effective if you can do it well. I wanted to use Redemption there, did not have the funds for it. It's only $750, well worth the cost though. Mind drop, perfectly landing on that force. With Senna distracted over on the right hand side, he might not notice. There's mines there and the tanks will probably just get destroyed by it. Vertigos have some extra damage against aircraft, so I'm going to use that to target those hammerheads to kill those vehicles. It's going to allow me to get out on this map because I don't think stealth tanks are going to cut it for me due to the land forces that Senna has been able to construct. One of the Vertigos fortunately goes down, the second one will stay alive. I've got that chemical plant, I used it for the C-type room. Don't know if it's worthwhile to catalyst him because he's probably depleted his tip field. He's been at his expansion for a longer time than me. So I expect soon he'll be forced to push, otherwise these Vertigos and tier 3 units of my Nod faction will reign supreme. He hasn't got his tier 3, so I'm just going to be over time more cost effective than him. I'm going to build another Reckoner just for good measure. Voice of Kane as well, a structure that you seldom see used. Has a little bit more radius in this community patch. Doesn't affect units inside of Reckoners. But these rockets and infantry outside will get the full benefit of that Voice of Kane. It actually replaces the buff of the Confessor. Both are the same buff, but one refreshes every 5 seconds and the other refreshes every 1.5 seconds. And the game is programmed to replace the 5-second one with the 1.5-second one. So while it's not technically two buffs, it's the same buff, just better. Tanks approaching from the rear. I've got Bike Buggy though to respond to this. EMP cores are going to be great in this use. Heroic Rocket Squad there, so I'm going to evac one of these non-heroic ones, put that in that Reckoner, and that's going to provide me with some amazing damage potential. That's going to get fully healed up as well. Reckoners can also shoot up. You can target aircraft with them. With these 4 Vertigos, I'm going to be able to snipe these Pred tanks for days. He hasn't got any Firehawks. He didn't take up the tier 3, get Mammoth tanks. That may be a mistake. If he had went Mammoths, he could have crushed my Reckoner. Reckoners do get crushed. Mammoths could just walk into this base, take out the Reckoner. But this is somewhat like a skirmish mission, and you're seeing this Reckoner pay off massively. Avatar comes out. MCV, I'm going to get over there for a further expansion. That tip field will regrow over time. And that's going to be GG. So that is the first of 2 games I want to showcase to you guys. And I hope you enjoyed that one. So let's go on and see the second game. Not before I showcase the stats of this one. Maybe I will. I'm commentating over this game. I'm not actually talking. This is not a live commentary per se. So yeah. Let's proceed. Alright guys, we are back to do game number 2 of this video, and this game really was quite something. So you're going to be on Toxicity, a wonderful new map created by Desolator. Well, it has been out for a while now, but definitely the most played of his maps. And just a quick overview of this map. There are 2 spikes per player. There's a blue Tiberian field in the middle, a contested EMP spike in the southern portion of the map, and in the north there is a defensive tower to capture. Now defensive towers in R21 definitely a more useful asset than they were, because the vision range now of them is the same as the weapon attack range. which means if you capture it, you don't have to micro to get the most out of them. So it's definitely a more appealing thing to grab. It's going to be a bigger gameplay element going forward, and I think that is a positive for the game. I'm going to be Steel Talons in this game here, a faction that has come a long way over the years. Was known to be the worst faction in the game. For some reason, Green Zero enjoyed playing them in their bug state. The Harvesters harvested slower. Titans gave more experience than they should. And basically everything was worse. The MRT was moved slower than the APC because they didn't copy the... They didn't update the MRT to the 1.09 APC stats. And oh man, the game was just in such a terrible state. You could literally go on forever. And then the order of the upgrades on the command post being completely wrong. Not to mention you had no means of killing the hexapod because you didn't have EMP. The shockwave artillery would never hit. The rig was never as good as it was in 1.02 Plus as well, because it didn't have that animation speed increase, which was definitely needed. Really like that change a lot. It's been in 1.2 Plus forever, but really is what made the rig a viable unit. These combat engineers, I'm going to put them in the APCs. These are actually pretty good against infantry. They kill stuff. They've got a laser sight as well in this patch. If you zoom in, you'll see those engineers have that laser sight on the pistol. Lots of attention to detail things in this. Me knowing the changelog, I'm going to capture this defensive tower. And Senna is going to have to circumvent it. Or, if he really wants to, he can use an engineer inside of a carrier and take it that way. Just drop it off next to the defensive tower, and then he'll be able to capture it. MRT Titan though moving in. I've got this MRT here. The laser turret comes down, focuses on the MRT. That was my only form of anti-infantry, but the Titan can go in for the crush. If I was Senna, I would sell off this handle knob, but he wants to keep it around. Harvester here will get crushed, so Senna, sadly for him, losing that Harvester. So that push paid off for me quite a bit. But the game is far from over. And there you see the first of many blue Tib Harvesters. I'm going to unload that very soon. That's a first in any mod in Command & Conquer 3. And in the next update of R21, which I hope will be the last, because it fixes the issues, the only issues that I have in this, will fix the overlapping Tib with that. So it can recognize if it's harvesting a green Tiberium crystal on top of a blue one. The game at the moment has difficulty identifying that, but it won't soon. You can really tell the difference in the vision range there. That is how far it shoots the tower. Another thing as well about the Harvester smoke, when it goes blue, is you know that's the Harvester going to the blue tip field, because it retains that blue dust, so it tells you as a player that that's going to the blue tip field. Unless ordered otherwise, harvesters will keep going back to the field that you told them to harvest. A lot of people assume that this is a bug and the harvesters keep going back to the first field, even though I put down expansion. That's not the case, guys. It's probably because you ordered them to take that Tiberium field. And the harvester, unless commanded otherwise, will keep doing that. That's intended behavior. Scorpion tank going down there. I can summon in the Bloodhounds, which gives me 2 veteran Wolverines and 2 Pitbulls, which would be really useful. Titan's moving in, but against those Rocketmen, that's not going to do a lot. Avatar up north, ready to meet those Titans. Really gives you a sense of scale of how large Titans really are if the Avatar appears the same size in comparison. But the Avatar clearly a superior unit. It is of course a tier 3 walker. Titans you get at tier 1. But they can crush like they are avatars. That's a really good thing about the Titan. They do crush tier 1 units. You can crush MCVs as well if you're really lucky. Utilizing these sensor pods just to detect these harvests instead of relying on the pulse scan. And I've got these Wolverines. May have overspent, but with 10 Wolverines I don't feel I need any more against infantry. I suspected he may have transitioned into a ton of inf, but I was wrong. He instead went for avatars, and this is what this game's all about. Rock, paper, scissors. You got to always calculate how much of each unit you need at every given point. Now, despite me having expansion, it's not as bright as it looks because, well, I actually did put down a second ref there, so Senna is in a very good position in this game. But you will soon see that fortune will change quickly. So I feel pretty comfortable in this point in time. We're going to take up to tier 3 and go for mammoth tanks, which is really the best thing about Steel Talons as a faction. AA battery. Nice mine drop from Senna, but I did command these units to stop with the S key. Second War Factory comes down. You can see the animated radar dish on that combat support airfield. I'm going to drop my tech center in a reasonable location. An area where it's not likely to get sniped. So this point here would be good. Because really this is the main point of contention where all the Tiberium is. So putting my tech there makes a lot of sense. Harvester returning from that blue tip field once again. And Senna's got a big army. He's got Black Hand squads as well, which he's going to use to flame down my garrisons. And the fighting will engage in the north. And the north looks like an entire different map. Desolator Trooper has put a lot of attention to detail in this map. I like how it transitions so seamlessly to this industrialized area. Senna, knowing that I'm going for this blue tip field, will intercept these harvesters, and the Redeemer being there, that's going to force me to pull back. All these harvesters missing precious mining time, which is bad for me. I got several harvesters not mining anything. I'm concerned about a rage gen going off, which is pretty devastating in some situations. Got these pitfalls. I gotta upgrade the mortars, but not before getting the other upgrade, being the railguns. Supersonic airstrike comes down, kills all but 2 of those venoms. Redeemer pushing through. I don't have railguns, nor do I have my own epic units, so I'm gonna have to contend with this army. Mammoth tanks pulling back there. No rage gen fired off just yet from that Redeemer. I got some pitballs attacking his base in the meantime, and this Redeemer will force to be pulled back. And with these Mammoth tanks, with these Wolverines, I'm going to push forward and see what I can do. Redeemer will be stranded. I see this as the opportunity here to use the railgun accelerator, which doubles the rate of fire of railguns. So for a brief time, it's like you're dealing with heroic units. And I thought at this point I am in command of this game. I really did. But we're going to soon see that that is not the case. So Senna has upgraded his infantry with the Tiberium infusion. He's actually transitioned to a lot of man spam here, and I was not expecting all this infantry. So I got to start making Wolverines again. These Mammoth tanks are low on health. They can get picked off and destroyed. And I didn't do enough economic damage to Senna in the back of his base. I had the bunch of pitballs, but all but 1 or 2 of them got cleaned up. I activate the adaptive armor on that force there, and I'm hoping that the shockwave artillery kills a large portion of his infantry, and I can go in, take out the avatars promptly, and then maybe the railguns will pick off the infantry. So I thought this was probably a good idea at this point, but not as fast as I would have liked. A lot of those infantry forces still remain, and he can scalar move them and avoid the crush. So those Mav tanks there not doing it for me. I was not expecting him to win out so hard in that engagement, but I did retain 2 or 3 of my Mavs, so that wasn't too bad really. Lost 2 Mav tanks for a large part of his army. He lost 2 avatars and about 10 or 12 rockets, as well as a few venoms. So that's not too bad really. I think we traded about even. As long as they get those 2 Mav tanks in the red back to base for repairs. Got my Mav out here. So he's lost a Redeemer. I'm going to go ahead and stick a grenade in this Mav. Got it from the sold off Reclamator hub. And the grenade's an important thing to put in the Mav on this map because I want to clear out these buildings if he garrisons them with infantry. Mavs can do that. Airfield up in the north. Not sure if I need that there anymore. I'm going to sell it off. I built a rig. This rig is going to be great for repairing this Mav. The engineers in the Mav as well will provide it with some passive repairing. And now my field is starting to run dry, which means I have to push very soon. This is the situation that Senna found himself in that game on Dust Bowl. This is going to force me to make some awkward decisions. I can't sit around because if he's allowed to harvest that Tiberium field, he's going to build an army that I cannot stop. So I'm going to have to push here with my MCV, of course, because I want to get the watchtowers down to deal with that infantry if he has it. I slammed a sensor pod on this Mav too, just so I can detect stealth in a large radius around itself. I see he's got some flanking infantry in the south. This rig will deploy in the middle. This is going to be my base of operation. I'm going to start building infantry and putting them in those garrisons. As Steel Talons, I have limited infantry options, but still these riflemen with AP ammo are going to be great in this situation. If I had an MRT or 2, I could even repair those garrisonable buildings, but they don't really have the HP, the hit points that I'm looking for. There is a building located right next to his base, so that's going to be a great thing for me to capture as well. I used the radar scan, and as I expected he would, he's got a lot of infantry there. Got 3 harvesters, put them right there so I can crush these infantry. I can even put riflemen in my harvesters and kill the harvesters of his, the rockets. Yeah, this is a slow push forward. I've got these pit bulls with mortars, just going to thin out the rear of his base, try and trap him in the corner. If I can do that, that's going to be great. More sensor pods going down. I'm going to try and harass his field here. And the power of disruption towers is you don't know what you're going into here. I thought that was his army. He kept it back. I did not anticipate him to have like 30 rockets. He's moving in here with a humongous army. He did a great job in hiding this huge swarm of Nod militia. That is an insane amount of infantry moving in. And I'm simply not prepared for this. Senna has built up a ton of rockets. And if he's got a tier 3, he can even use the Redemption. Voice of Kane as well would come in great use. And this is what surprised me a lot, just how effective this Nod spam is with those upgrades. Senna making a great transition here. I have Wolverines pretty idle there, but I don't think those would have made much difference. I got the pit bulls. Now, granted, I did clear out the majority of his base. This man spam, though, is encroaching further and further ahead. I've got 2 or 3 Wolverines scattered around the place, but I thought I didn't need them. I thought like he was dead. He didn't have much, but I was mistaken. Senna has a huge army. He's got infantry. He's also got his MCV alive as well. I'm going to summon all my harvesters to the fight. I'm going to use them to crush. My riflemen as well will be great in this scenario. Now this Mav tank is going to be key for me to push him if I do hold this off. Senna has split a lot of his army. And I can coordinate this well. That's a lot of APM Wolverines and Riflemen, so I should be able to hold this off with what I have. Lots of those infantry going down, but my Wolverines are trading for them, and I was not expecting this fight to go so poorly for me. The majority of the Wolverines do fall. The infantry still remain, and yeah, he's still got the infantry. And this Mao tank is really the only combat unit I have left that can destroy him. And seeing his base, seeing he has a MCV and full infrastructure, I decide at this point that it's do or die. I'm going to go in for one last push with these harvesters and Wolverines and see if I can take out these infantry forces. They're falling, but ever so slowly. The Pitbulls as well are here to clean up, but yeah, 3 heroic rocket squads. They are just killing my units. Look how fast those rockets are firing, and I simply just don't have anything at this point to kill him. My only 2 harvesters are at the north, and I can't retreat because he's got an army of infantry there. So that is going to be it. A game that I thought was pretty awesome, and I hope you guys enjoyed these 2 games on R21. This is the first of many games I'm going to provide to you on this channel. So if you want to see more, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want, then download R21 and have some games of your own. Don't forget to check out the 4K mod as well. It works with R21. One is a mod, other is a map pack. Both go together in tandem. And it is designed to work online. You can even play your friends on skirmish. Works just well. So yeah guys, this is going to be Master Leaf. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and thank you again to all my patrons who have continued to support me and my channel and the projects I've been doing and working on for the last 2 months, and by extension years. So yeah guys, this is me, Master Leaf. Peace out.